On a New Year's Eve of 2025, an incident in Milan's iconic Piazza Duomo caused panic in Italy. A group of young migrants was seen in the video insulting Italy, its police, and defiling a statue. The videos, widely shared on social media, sparked a nationwide debate on integration and migration. This controversy in modern Italy draws a powerful parallel with an earlier moment in history, the sack of Rome in 455 AD. The Vandals originally wanted to be part of the Roman Empire, but on their own terms. Their leader, King Genseric, sought to integrate the Vandals into the Roman system. Rome, once the world's most powerful city, had already been weakened by civil wars, barbarian migration, political instability, and economic decline. One of the many reasons why the Vandals did what they did is that they didn't want to integrate but change the empire on their own terms, in a way, change what it meant to be Roman. And as the Romans resisted, in 455 AD, they looted and pillaged the heart of the Roman Empire. The Vandals' invasion symbolized the collapse of a once great empire, and they target the city's wealth and prestige. Similarly, the modern debate over refugees and citizenship speaks to concerns about Italy's cultural identity and respect for its values. But more than that, what these refugees are seeking in Europe? Just like the Vandals, they are looking for looting and pillaging, but today that's done over the modern European welfare system. The Vandals, just like the refugees, just look for the riches and power of Europe. And both events highlight the fears of internal decay and the loss of control. In both cases, there is a desire to protect the integrity of the nation and the inability of the structures of the government to access the situation. In ancient Rome, several peoples, such as the Vandals and the Huns, illegally migrate into the empire. These invasions are usually considered the main cause of the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, as they put pressures on the Roman welfare system. The Romans had a welfare system which was, in a way, more attractive than the ones offered by the nations nowadays. They offer its subjects free food in the form of a monthly supply of grains and free water from aqueducts, public fountains, baths, and cisterns. And they almost guarantee jobs for most of its population by creating large public monuments and projects like aqueducts or stadiums. All these projects that they worked also contribute to improve the life of its citizens. By being a Roman citizen, you would have guaranteed food and water, and almost certainly a job. And after put a good work, you would have a stadium to see some games or watch some play in a theater. All of this for free. The city would have some spaces for temples of all gods, festivals of all sorts. Being a Roman was good, almost too good to be true. Imagine that at that time, almost all neighbors of Rome lived in tribes, basically not much better than a caveman would live, while the Romans lived an almost modern daily life. But all this advantage of being a Roman had an adverse effect on the people which live outside. They made them jealous and attracted to join the empire. These people did not speak Latin or Greek, the two main languages of the empire, did not know how to read or write, which made put them to work extremely difficult. How to make people which essentially lived like cavemen to behave as a Roman, to take a bath for instance, to use a public toilet. They simply couldn't integrate into the Roman society. And of course, they put pressure on the welfare system, as now the government have more mouths to feed. The Romans had freedom of movement within the empire, which comprised of mostly of nowadays Europe, Middle East, and North Africa. And this freedom of movement made a number of Romans of non-barbarian origin from the west to migrate to areas less affected by the illegal migration, like the Eastern Roman Empire. A portion of the empire which survived 1,000 years more after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Today, illegal migration in Europe bears some resemblance to these ancient invasions. Refugees and illegal migration present challenges to national security and social welfare systems. As ancient Rome struggled with barbarian invasions, modern Europe faces rising tensions over borders, asylum seekers, and a collapsing welfare system. In the mid 5th century, the Roman Empire was crumbling, weakened by internal chaos, economic hardship, and invasions from barbarian tribes. Among these invaders, the Vandals emerged as one of the most formidable threats. Originally from Scandinavia, on the very north of Europe, the Vandals migrated to the bottom of the Mediterranean and had settled in North Africa, inside of what once was a Roman territory. Led by their ambitious king Genseric, the Vandals seized Carthago in 439 AD, gaining control of much of North Africa. North Africa exposed the Vandals to a weaker point in the empire. It was closer to Italy. Simple boats could lead them directly to the heart of the empire, the capital, Rome. And in 455 AD, similarly to what happens today, the Vandals set their sights to Italy, ready to deal a devastating blow to an already weakened state. The Romans, caught off guard, were already facing numerous challenges, pressure from the Huns and another barbarian group. They have, in between quotes, defunded their police, and control over their provinces have been weakened. The Emperor Petronius Maximus, who had recently taken the throne, was unable to get sufficient forces to defend the city. But beyond these immediate threats, the empire was also dealing with a crisis of fertility. By the mid 5th century, the Roman population had been steadily declining as a result of warfare, plagues, and economic strain. With fewer men to defend the empire, the Roman military grew weaker, further compromising the empire's ability to protect the border. The fertility crisis also led to a shortage of resources, weakening the agricultural base that had supported the Roman Empire for centuries. As the population dwindled, the empire's social fabric began to erode, making it increasingly difficult for Rome to maintain its once mighty status. In face of these challenges, the invasion of 455 by the Vandals was a devastating blow to Rome, which was already fragile. Today, Europe faces a similar fertility crisis, with declining birth rates in many countries leading to an aging population as well as security crisis and a migrant crisis. Just as ancient Rome struggled with demographic decline, modern Europe is grappling with how to sustain its economy, military, and social services with shrinking and aging workforce. In 455 AD, the Vandals crossed the Mediterranean, reaching Rome and breaching its walls. The once mighty city, unable to defend itself, was plundered, marking the collapse of a great empire. Fast forward to today, and Italy faces a modern parallel. Boats filled with military-aged men from North Africa continue to arrive. Just as ancient Rome struggled to protect its heart, modern Italy grapples with an overwhelming influx of migrants and its inability to secure its borders. Both in the fall of Rome and the current European landscape, the vulnerability is evident. While Europe has not yet reached the point of collapse, external pressures such as migration, terrorism, and political unrest are testing it. From the first signs to the ultimate collapse of the Western Roman Empire, everything happened incredibly fast from the historical point of view. From the Vandal invasion to the total collapse of the Western Roman Empire, there were only 21 years. The breach of Rome serves as a reminder that failure to act can lead to irreversible consequences. The capture of Rome marked a crucial event, altering authority and initiating the gradual downfall of the Roman Empire. The victory of the Vandals weakened Rome, contributing to its eventual ruin and the beginning of a period of decline throughout the Western world. At the present, Europe faces similar challenges, with rising political instability and cultural divisions threatening cohesion and a sense of self. Both in ancient and modern times, the question of who belongs to the nation and how citizenship should be defined remains central to debates about national identity. But one thing is certain, those with blood ties to the nation tend to respect the country and culture more than those with no blood connection that come seeking social welfare. While the capture of Rome was an external attack on a weakened empire, the Vandals did not initially want to sack Rome. They wanted Rome famous bread and circus, free grain, and free water provided by the Roman state. This influx of invaders, totally disconnected from Rome, led to several attacks to the city when the famous welfare state of Rome ceased to flow. Today, challenges like the New Year event in Italy remind us events like this, albeit not yet barbaric or Vandal like the Vandal attacks. Until when we will wait till they become something just like? Until the next car attack in Germany, the next grenade attack in Sweden? How many European women need to suffer attacks from the so-called refugees? When enough is enough? And I ask Europe, what will happen when the euros from the social welfare programs stop to flow? What do you think those who have no blood ties to Europe do not have the same fate will do? It's something to think. Thank you for watching. Tibi gracias a Go pro spectábulo.